Hey guys, welcome to the explanation for part 2 of Project 2. You should be excited because you have made it past part 1, you've made it past Project 1. You have done a good job, so keep up the hard work. So today, I'm going to just explain a little bit of what we're talking about and just kind of how part 2 of Project 2 works. So, just a little bit of background information. So the way science works in general, so you have individual scientists. Here's one with the lab coat. Here's another one with a lab coat. And they're doing lots of experiments, all these different experiments all over the world. And the hard thing about having scientists spread all over the world is that it's hard to know what everyone is doing and what all the scientists are thinking because they're spread out everywhere. So the way they do that is they have these things called scientific journals, and they're basically just books. It's a bad book drawing. Scientific journal, it's a J for journal. And these scientists will write papers, and they'll submit them to the journal. But a board of their fellow peer scientists will look at each paper that is submitted and see if it's good enough, if it meets the standards of the scientific community. So these scientists everywhere, they're always trying to write these papers and try to get more papers published, because if they publish more papers, that means that they're better scientists, essentially. And this board of people right here are always scrutinizing to make sure that the papers they submit are really good. So getting published in a scientific journal is really awesome. It's really hard to do, and it's great for your career. If you want to be a scientist, you'll be publishing in scientific journals all the time, hopefully. And so it's a great thing for your career if you want to be a scientist to publish in an academic journal. So, for this project, you have a friend. Her name is Jessica Jimenez. She's fictional. She's not real. But this is Jessica right here. It's a bad lab coat. She's a scientist, and she is studying to get her PhD at Stanford, and she's studying sugar beets here in Wilder, Idaho. That's my drawing of a sugar beet. And she wrote she wrote a nice paper about sugar beets, and she wants to get it published in an academic journal. But, unfortunately, she has lots of things that she is confused about. She's still practicing being a scientist, and so our project is going to be to help her edit this paper that she wrote, okay? So that's what we're doing. We're going to write another letter back to her saying the ways she can change her paper in order to make it, in order to be able to publish it in a scientific journal. Okay? And by the way, this skill set that you're going to use for this is something that, or the skill set that you will learn in this project is something that you will use in college, and depending on what job you do, you might be using the skill set of reading scientific papers for the rest of your life. So if you want to be a doctor or something like that, you will use it for the rest of your life. So in order to get access to the materials, you go to Getting to Camp 1, the quest, go to Project 2, Analyzing a Scientific Paper. I already explained Part 1 in a different video. This is Part 2. Here's all the materials you need. So you have the directions, Jessica's paper that you're going to edit, the rubric, and then these bottom three are a couple of different graphs. So let's go to the directions really fast. So you can read the directions here. This first part kind of explains what these first 3 paragraphs kind of explain what I've already just said. So here are the requirements for the paper. So it must be professionally made and organized. It must have 2 obvious and well-marked sections, the recommendation section and the correction section. In the recommendation section, you're going to want to analyze and evaluate Jessica's claim, what she claims to have learned about sugar beets and climate change. That's what her paper's on. And in the correction section, there's a couple of things you're going to do. You're going to explain how to correctly measure the volume of a cylinder and make corrections to her measurements, because she has made some errors in measuring the volume in a cylinder. So you have to explain how to do it and then make corrections to her measurements. So you have to do that for the volume in a cylinder, and for length, and for mean, median, and mode. And you have to help correct her charts that she uses. So you have to do all three of those things, okay? Explain how to do it and make corrections to the ones that she's done, okay? Here is the rubric. You can see exactly how it's going to be graded. And then right here is Jessica's paper. So the title of her paper is Climate Change and the Sugar Beet Crop in Wilder, Idaho. That's Jessica's name right there. Oh, and these are the sections of a scientific paper. So abstract just means a summary of the things that the summary of the whole paper. Introduction talks about basically the same thing, why this paper is important. And methods is what she actually did to do the study. So these are all of her measurements. Right here, measuring sugar beets. Ooh, this is a little blurry. I might get you a new version of these numbers so you can see a little bit better. But here's where she calculated mean, median, and mode. Right here. And here are the results of the study. So I'm going to give you a hint. Basically, everything she did in the paper is wrong. So you're going to have to correct everything. Each graph and each measurement you'll have to correct. Okay? So, and then these are just the graphs that I already showed you that need to be corrected. All right? So that's an explanation of the project. And yeah, good luck.